Quitting a job can be exciting, stressful, or sometimes both. But one thing many people forget about when they leave a job is their 401k. Today I'm going to walk you through 3 options for your 401k when you quit your job. And I'll share some additional important tips at the end that can save you money and headaches. So let's get started. Option 1, leaving your 401k right where it is. If your balance is large enough, many plans allow you to leave your 401k right where it is. So the pros with this are, it's easy, there's no immediate action you need to take. You don't have to do anything right away. Your money stays invested and tax deferred, and some employer plans offer low-cost investment options. Now here are some of the cons. You can no longer contribute to that plan, which is pretty obvious. You have limited investment choices. You might have possible fees if you're no longer an employee. Here's something that a lot of people don't realize. Some employers may pay the administrative fees for active employees, but once you leave your job, those fees might be passed on to terminated employees. So it's very important that you check with your plan administrator or your employer about the fees if you terminate and leave your account balance there. Another con is risk of automatic distribution if your balance is low enough. Most employer plans have what is called a distribution sweep for employees who are terminated. What that means is if you leave your job and your balance is below that limit, the plan may automatically cash you out or automatically roll your money into an IRA that is chosen by the plan provider, not you. And you might not even realize this is happening if your contact information isn't current. And the final con is that it's easy to forget about old accounts over time. So here's an important tip. If you leave it there, make sure your address and email are always current and up to date with the plan provider. Lost 401ks are very common and totally unavoidable. The second option is cashing it out. This option usually is the most tempting and often the most expensive. The pros are that you have immediate access to cash if you need it, and this might be helpful during a job transition. But here are the cons. You may owe income taxes on the entire amount. If you're under 59 and a half, you'll likely owe a 10% penalty for early withdrawal. And you permanently lose future growth on all that money that could have been growing in your retirement account. This option should be a last resort. Cashing out can cost you thousands of dollars of retirement money over time that you could have had growing in a retirement account. Okay, the third option, rolling over your 401k. This is the option that most people choose, and often for a good reason. You can roll your 401k over to an IRA or to your new employer's 401k plan. Here are some of the pros. It keeps your money tax deferred. It consolidates all your accounts so they're easy to manage. And it often gives you more investment choices. Here are the cons. It requires paperwork or completing online forms and follow through. If you're rolling it over to an IRA, you're going to have to set up the IRA. If you're rolling it over to your employer's retirement plan, then you're most likely going to have to complete some form, probably online, an application for a rollover form. And this lets your new employer's plan know that you're going to have an incoming rollover. And then you're going to have to fill out the distribution paperwork or online form at your prior provider's plan. They're going to need to know where you want to roll over the money. And so you're most likely going to have to initiate this distribution through them. And all these items are going to have to involve follow through. You're going to want to make sure that the money ends up showing up in either your IRA or your new provider's 401k plan. And this isn't going to happen within a couple days, so don't expect to fill out all the forms and then check a couple days later and the money's going to show up in your new plan. This whole process can sometimes take a few weeks. So make sure you follow up in a couple weeks just to make sure that you see this money going into your IRA or your employer's plan, wherever you had it directed to go. This is very important. Another key tip is always ask for a direct rollover, so the money goes straight from one provider to another provider. This helps you avoid unnecessary taxes. You'll be doing a direct rollover, so the check is going to be made payable to the institution that you're rolling the money over. It's not going to be made payable to you, and this is a big factor in determining if you would need to owe taxes on this. Now, here are some extra tips that you're not going to want to miss. These are very important. So before you take any action on your 401k, here are a few things to double check. Tip number 1, If you're not eligible yet for your new employer's plan, check to see if they allow incoming rollovers for employees who are not yet eligible. For example, if you have a 6-month waiting period before you're eligible for your new employer's 401k plan, they might still accept rollovers for employees who haven't become participants yet. If they do, then you can proceed with having your money rolled over. Tip number 2, confirm that all contributions have been deposited. Make sure that your final paycheck, your contributions, and your employer match, if applicable, have been actually deposited before you withdraw the money. Tip number 3, watch the timing on all employer contributions with your old employer. Some employer matches are deposited later. Maybe they're not deposited per pay period. They might be deposited quarterly or annually. And one more thing that people often forget about. If your employer offers a profit sharing or non-elective contribution, sometimes those contributions are not deposited until after year end. So here's the risk. If you take a distribution before all that money has been deposited, you're going to have to come back and request another distribution later, and you'll most likely be charged another distribution fee. So before you move your 401k, always ask yourself, have all the employer contributions been deposited yet? Tip number 4, make sure you follow the exact instructions when requesting a rollover distribution. For example, your new employer's plan will have instructions on how the check needs to be payable, the account or contract number of your new employer's plan, and the mailing address that the check needs to be sent to. So it's very important that you follow the instructions exactly. For example, if you're rolling over your money to Charles Schwab, if you don't request that your employer's account number or contract number be on the check details somewhere, and your name is Joe Smith, and the check is just saying payable to Charles Schwab, FBO, for the benefit of Joe Smith, Charles Schwab is not going to know where this money belongs. There's probably a lot of Joe Smiths that have accounts at Charles Schwab. So that's why I say it's very important that you put any contract numbers or plan numbers on the check details to prevent this from happening. Because if Charles Schwab doesn't know where to deposit the money, they're just going to return the money to the institution who sent the check. And this is going to cause all kinds of issues. Tip number 5, keep your contact information updated. If you leave money in the plan, make sure you always keep your address and email address current to prevent lost accounts and missed notices. For example, your old employer might not keep the same provider. So a couple of years down the road, they may change 401k providers. And who knows, if your old company goes out of business and they decide to terminate the plan, then all money has to be out of the plan, and they might cash you out or roll over your money to an IRA. And if this happens, it's very difficult to keep track of your 401k over time if your prior employer has had multiple 401k providers. So very important. Your 401k doesn't disappear when you leave your job, but what you do next really matters. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe, or share it with someone you know who might be changing jobs. And let me know in the comments section if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.